Accuse. To accuse someone of something is to blame them for doing it.
She accused her brother of breaking her computer.
Adjust. To adjust something means to change it so it is better.
He adjusted the old guitar to make it sound better.
Amuse. To amuse someone means to do something that is funny or entertaining.
The singer was very good. She amused the crowd.
Coral. Coral is the hard, colorful material formed by the shells of animals.
The diver admired the beautiful coral under the water.
Cotton. Cotton is a cloth made from the fibers of the cotton plant.
I like to wear clothes made from cotton in the summer.
Crash. To crash means to hit and break something.
There was a loud noise when the car crashed into the tree.
Deck. A deck is a wooden floor built outside of a house or the floor of a ship.
A ship will store many supplies below its deck.
Engage. To engage in something means to do it.
Dad was engaged in sawing a piece of wood in half.
Firm. When something is firm, it is solid but not too hard.
He sleeps better on a firm bed.
Fuel. Fuel is something that creates heat or energy.
Heat is the fuel that comes from fire.
Grand. When something is grand, it is big and liked by people.
The Grand Mountain rose high into the sky.
Hurricane. A hurricane is a bad storm that happens over the ocean.
The wind from the hurricane bent the palm tree.
Loss. A loss means the act or an instance of losing something.
I suffered a big loss while I was gambling.
Plain. If something is simple, it is plain and not decorated. If something is plain, it is simple and not decorated.
He bought a pair of plain white shoes over the weekend.
Reef. A reef is a group of rocks or coral that rise to or near the ocean.
He walked along the reef and looked at the water below.
Shut. To shut something means to close it tightly.
Please shut the door. The air outside is cold.
Strict. When someone is strict, they make sure others follow rules.
The teacher is strict. She does not let students talk in class.
Surf. To surf means to use a special board to ride on waves in the ocean.
The students went to the beach to surf during their vacation.
Task. A task is a piece of work to be done that is usually difficult.
My task for the weekend was to clean the entire backyard.
Zone. A zone is an area that has different qualities from the ones around it.
Firefighters often work in danger zones.
The two captains. Once there were two ships. Both ships carried cotton. The captains were very different. Thomas was strict. He made his crew engage in difficult tasks. Make sure the ship's deck is firm and that nothing falls. Put more fuel in the tank, he said. His ship was very plain, but he never had a problem with it. The second captain, William, was not serious. He had a grand ship, and he loved having fun. His crew amused him by singing and dancing. But his crew never fixed anything on the ship. They just wanted to surf. One day, Thomas saw a hurricane ahead. He knew that his ship needed to turn around. But he was sure William did not see the storm. He adjusted the dials on the radio and called his friend. Thomas said, "You'll hit the reef. It's made completely of coral. Turn around to ensure that you do not crash." William said, "We will go under the deck and shut the door. We will dance and sing until we are past the danger zone." When William's ship got to the hurricane, the wind blew it into the reef. The ship crashed, and water flowed below the deck. William's crew accused him of being a bad captain. The loss of the ship taught William a lesson. There are times to have fun, but there are also times to be serious. Appeal. To appeal to someone is to be interesting or attractive to them.
Sleeping all day appeals to me, but I have to go to school.
Assume. To assume something is to think that it is true, even with no proof.
I assume you are both familiar with this plan?
Borrow. To borrow something is to take it and then give it back later.
Can I borrow a pencil to use today? I'll give it back to you tomorrow.
Client. A client is a person or business that pays another to do a service.
She has many clients who enjoy coming to her salon.
Downtown. The downtown is the center of most cities.
The downtown is filled with many tall buildings.
Dull. If something is dull, it is not exciting.
The movie was very dull. I fell asleep watching it.
Embarrass. To embarrass someone is to make them feel ashamed or foolish.
He was embarrassed when he couldn't remember her name.
Fare. A fare is an amount of money paid to use a bus, train, or taxi.
Since he is a senior, my grandfather pays a low fare for the bus.
Former. Former describes something that used to be, but is not anymore.
The hotel, a former castle, was built over 200 years ago.
Formula. A formula is a set mathematical way or method of solving a problem.
I learned a new formula that may help us with our problem.
Found. To found a company or organization means to start it.
The Pilgrims founded one of the first colonies in the United States.
Invest. To invest means to use money in a way that will bring a profit later.
I invested money in a new building that should bring me a profit.
Loan. A loan is the act of lending something, usually money.
I got a loan from the bank.
Practical. If something is practical, it is useful in normal life.
Learning English is practical. You can use it in many places.
Quarter. A quarter is 25 cents.
He paid a quarter for the candy.
Salary. A salary is how much money a person makes at his or her job.
He got a new job with a better salary.
Scholarship. A scholarship is money given to one so they can go to school.
I got a scholarship to help me pay for university.
Temporary. If something is temporary, it exists for a short time.
This car is only temporary. I'll get a new one soon.
Treasure. A treasure is a collection of valuable things, especially jewels or gold.
They became very rich when they found the buried treasure.
Urge. To urge someone is to try very hard to get them to do something.
He urged them to believe his story.
The taxi driver. Peter's job was driving a taxi downtown. He made a small salary. But he liked his job because it wasn't dull. Every day he saw new things that appealed to him. Peter was practical about the future. Maybe I can get a scholarship to college, he thought. I could learn mathematical formulas and get a job at a bank. I could help clients invest their money. Peter stopped to pick up a passenger. Where to? He asked. Go to the 4th Street Bank, and don't talk to me. I've had a rough day, the man said. Peter was angry, but he had a peaceful philosophy. When they stopped, the man's fare came to $10.25. He put his hands in his pockets. I can't find my wallet, he said. I can't pay the fare. Peter said, maybe I'll give you a temporary loan. You can borrow $10.25 from me. The man was embarrassed, saying, I was mean to you, but now I want to help you. I founded this bank. I want to give you $1,000. That much money was like a treasure to Peter. The man urged him to take the money, but he didn't. You're an honest person, the man said. I assumed you would take it. I want you to work for me. The next day, Peter started his job at the bank. He was happy to be done with his former job. Accompany. To accompany other people means to join them or go with them.
My brothers accompanied me to the movie.
Bare. When something is bare, it is plain. It has no covering.
He likes to walk around in his bare feet.
Branch. A branch is the part of a tree with leaves.
The monkey was hanging from a branch on the tree.
Breath. A breath is the air that goes into and out of one's lungs.
You can't take a breath underwater.
Bridge. A bridge is something that is built over a river so people can cross it.
The old bridge fell into the river.
Cast. To cast something means to throw it.
The fisherman cast his line into the water.
Dare. To dare means to be brave enough to try something.
He dared to jump out of the airplane and skydive.
Electronic. When something is electronic, it uses electricity to do something.
I like having electronic devices such as an MP3 player.
Inn. An inn is a place where travelers can rest and eat.
The visitor got a room at the inn.
Net. A net is a bag made of strong thread. It is used to catch animals.
The boy caught butterflies in his net.
Philosophy. A philosophy is a way to think about truth and life.
My philosophy is, live and let live.
Pot. A pot is a deep round metal container used for cooking.
Don't touch the pot on the stove. It's hot.
Seed. A seed is the hard part of a plant or fruit that trees grow from.
I planted the seed in the dirt, hoping that it would grow into a tree.
Sharp. When something is sharp, it has a thin edge that cuts things easily.
That knife is very sharp. Be careful not to hurt yourself.
Sort. To sort means to separate things into different groups or classes.
He sorted his clothes by colors and sizes.
Subtract. To subtract means to take something away.
We learned how to subtract numbers from each other in class.
Tight. When something is tight, it is fixed or fastened firmly in place.
The knots were too tight to untie.
Virtual. If something is virtual, then it is very close to being true or accurate.
Because he's popular, Joe is the virtual leader of the group.
Weigh. To weigh something means to see how heavy it is.
The little dog weighed exactly 3 kilograms.
Whisper. To whisper means to say very quietly.
We have to whisper in the library so people can focus on reading.
The fisherman. Every day, a fisherman sat on a bridge. He ate apples and spit the seeds into the water. He had a simple way to catch fish. He cut a branch off of a tree and tied a line to it. He put a sharp hook on it and made a tight knot. Then he whispered, "Come here, fish." Like magic, the fish bit the hook. He put them in a big net and took them home to make big pots of fish soup from them. One day, another man walked up to him. He said, "My name is George. I am staying at the inn. I bet that I am a better fisherman than you. I will accompany you today. I dare you to prove your skill." The fisherman cast his line. George had a lot of electronic tools. One machine gave him the virtual locations of fish. His rod weighed fish. At the end of the day, George subtracted his fish from the fisherman's. The fisherman had beaten him by 47. George asked, "How do you catch fish with only a branch and a bare line?" "I have many different sorts of tools." The fisherman told George, "My philosophy is simple. I am patient and I believe in myself. Take a breath and try it my way." Apology. An apology is something someone says to show that they are sorry.
After arguing with her teacher, the girl wrote the teacher an apology.
Bold. If someone is bold, they are not afraid of doing something.
The bold man climbed the high mountain.
Capture. To capture someone or something is to catch them.
James tried to capture the bubbles in his hands.
Cardinal. If a rule or quality is cardinal, then it is the most important one.
Raising your hand in the classroom before you speak is a cardinal rule.
Duke. A duke is a man of high social rank, but below a king or queen.
The duke ruled over the land.
Expose. To expose is to make known something that is hidden.
He took off his shirt, exposing his costume.
Guilty. If people feel guilty, they feel bad for what they did.
I felt guilty for taking my sister's cookies.
Hire. To hire someone is to pay them money to work for you.
We hired a man to paint our house.
Innocent. If someone is innocent, they are not guilty of a crime.
The judge said that the woman was innocent of the crime.
Jail. Jail is a place where criminals go to be punished.
The thief was caught and sent to jail for 10 years.
Minister. A minister is an important person in government with many duties.
The Minister of Education controls the country's schools.
Ordinary. If someone or something is ordinary, they are not special in any way.
Today was just an ordinary day. Nothing unusual happened.
Permanent. If something is permanent, it lasts for a long time or forever.
We don't know if Aunt Mildred's visit will be a permanent one.
Preserve. To preserve is to protect something from harm.
Dad sprayed a chemical on the house to help preserve its looks.
Pronounce. To pronounce is to say the sounds of letters or words.
Young children often have trouble pronouncing words right.
Resemble. To resemble someone is to look like them.
The baby resembles his father a great deal.
Symptom. A symptom of a bad condition or illness is a sign that it is happening.
Sneezing and a high fever are symptoms of the common cold.
Tobacco. Tobacco is a plant whose leaves are smoked, such as in cigarettes.
The tobacco in cigarettes is bad for your health.
Twin. Twins are two children born at the same time.
My sister and I are twins. We look exactly the same.
Witch. A witch is a woman with magical powers.
People think that witches fly around on broomsticks. The Duke and the Minister. A mean duke grew tobacco, and his cardinal rule was to always keep the plants healthy. The duke's top minister was his twin brother. They closely resembled each other. One day, the tobacco plant started to die. He hired men to watch the fields. Soon, the men brought a woman to him and said, "We captured a witch." The duke asked, "How do you know?" She sang magic words. I can't pronounce them. She has cursed us. The death of the plants is a symptom of her curse, the men said. I am just an ordinary woman. I was singing a song in a different language, the woman protested. The duke didn't listen. You are guilty. You will go to jail. The minister thought that she was innocent. He needed to expose the truth. He asked the duke to loan him one of his plants. He looked at it closely. He saw hundreds of small bugs eating it. Then the minister went to the jail and did something bold. Let this woman go, he said. The guards thought he was the duke. They let her go. The minister said, I owe you an apology. Thank you. I thought my stay in jail was permanent, the woman answered. The minister thought the duke would punish him, but he didn't. The duke was too busy trying to preserve his plants.
Bath. A bath is water in a tub. People take a bath to get clean.
After playing in the dirt, the boy took a bath.
Bend. To bend is to move something so it is not straight.
Lee bent over and picked up the paper on the ground.
Chew. To chew is to move your mouth to break up food.
I always chew my food carefully before swallowing it.
Disabled. When a person is disabled, they cannot do what a normal person can do.
The disabled man used a wheelchair to move around.
Fantastic. If something is fantastic, it is really good.
The student did a fantastic job on his project and got an award.
Fiction. Fiction is a story that is not true.
I enjoy reading works of fiction because they are very entertaining.
Flag. A flag is a piece of colored cloth that represents something.
Our country has a beautiful flag.
Inspect. To inspect is to look at something carefully.
The mechanic inspected our car to see if it had any problems.
Journal. A journal is a type of magazine that deals with an academic subject.
Mi-young was busy working on an article for an art journal.
Liquid. A liquid is a substance that is neither solid nor gas.
Water is the most important liquid for life.
Marvel. To marvel at something is to feel surprise and interest in it.
We marveled at her excellent piano playing.
Nutrient. A nutrient is something that a living thing needs to keep it alive.
Vegetables are full of important nutrients.
Overcome. To overcome a problem is to successfully fix it.
She overcame her shyness and spoke in front of the class.
Recall. To recall something is to remember it.
She was trying to recall what she had told her friend.
Regret. To regret something is to wish that it didn't happen.
I regret that I was mean to my sister.
Soul. A soul is a person's spirit.
Some people believe that the soul lives after the body dies.
Sufficient. When something is sufficient, you have enough of it.
After eating a sufficient amount of food, I left the table.
Surgery. Surgery is medical treatment when the doctor cuts open your body.
I needed surgery to repair my leg after the accident.
Tough. If something is tough, it is difficult.
The man passed his driving test even though it was very tough.
Tube. A tube is a pipe through which water or air passes.
The pile of tubes was going to be put in the ground.
The doctor's cure. James Fry was a fantastic doctor. His surgeries helped many disabled people overcome their injuries. He also wrote for a popular medical journal. James was very busy. His son Steve rarely saw him. One day, James was walking and inspecting a patient's file. There was water all over the floor. James slipped on the liquid and fell. He fell on a broken glass tube. He was hurt. Steve came to visit him in the hospital. James said, "It will be tough for me to stay in bed, but I can hardly bend my legs." "Then let's watch a movie," Steve said. It made them laugh together. Steve said, "I have to leave, but here's some fiction to read." James started to recall fun parts of life. He marveled at small things, like food. He was too busy to notice them before. "Steve," he said, "you get more nutrients when you chew slowly. But I think it makes food taste better, too." Weeks later, James said, "Steve, I haven't spent enough time with you. I regret this. Even my soul feels better when you visit. But I have spent sufficient time here. We should go home." Outside there was a warm breeze. James watched a flag blow. Finally, James said, "I'm not ready to work. I'm going to take a long bath, and then we'll watch a movie together." Admit. To admit something means to say that it is true.
I had to admit that I stole his idea.
Bin. A bin is a container that holds things.
He put his trash in the bin.
Bowl. A bowl is a deep round dish that holds food or liquid.
I ate a bowl of cereal for breakfast.
Cabin. A cabin is a small house made of wood.
My grandfather owns a small cabin in the country.
Cash. Cash is money in the form of paper or coins.
I was able to save up enough cash to buy my mother a gift.
Criminal. A criminal is a person who does something against the law.
The police made sure the criminal couldn't move his hands.
Dozen. A dozen is a group of 12 things.
Mom brought home a dozen donuts for us as a treat.
Elder. An elder is a person who is older than the people around them.
Uncle Ray is my elder, so I always try to be respectful.
Facial. If something is facial, it is related to a person's face.
I could tell from his facial features that he was angry.
Fence. A fence is a structure around a house or field.
The farmer put up a fence so that no one could walk on her field.
Inspire. To inspire means to make a person want to do something.
I was inspired to write a poem after watching the sunrise.
Mere. When something is mere, it is small or not important.
We lost the game by a mere 2 points.
Neat. If something is neat, it is very clean or organized well.
My sister always keeps her bedroom very neat.
Occasion. An occasion is a time when something important happens.
Her graduation was an occasion to have a good time.
Penalty. A penalty is a punishment given when someone breaks a rule or law.
I had to pay a $100 penalty for parking in the wrong spot.
Rude. When someone is rude, they are mean and not polite.
The children at the bus stop were very rude.
Settle. To settle a problem means to end it by finding a solution.
It took 3 of our best executives all day to settle the problem.
Vehicle. A vehicle is a thing that moves people or things to another place.
A ferry is a vehicle that takes people from one island to another.
Wallet. A wallet is a thing that holds money and fits in a pocket.
I keep my money in a wallet.
Yell. To yell is to say something very loudly.
The coach yelled at his team for their poor performance. The criminal. A man had been in jail because he stole things. The criminal never felt bad. One day, he escaped and ran into the woods. He found a cabin with a fence. The cabin was very neat. Inside, the criminal found a bowl of fruit, a bottle of milk, and a dozen eggs. He ate the fruit and drank the milk. But the eggs smelled funny, so he put them in the trash bin. Soon he heard the sound of a vehicle's motor. An old man came in and saw the criminal. The old man yelled, "Why are you in my house?" The criminal lied, "I'm a policeman." The old man replied, "I am your elder. You cannot fool me. You are the criminal." The criminal's facial expression became very sad. He admitted that he was a criminal. He said, "I'm sorry. It was rude for me to come into your home. Please take the cash from my wallet. It is a mere amount, but it will settle our problem." The old man said, "I do not want your money. I just want to inspire you to be good. There will be no penalty for taking my food." On this occasion, the criminal realized that he had been bad. He listened to the old man and never stole from anyone ever again.
Alike. If two things or people are alike, they are similar in some way.
People often think my sister and I look alike.
Annoy. To annoy someone means to bother them.
The flies buzzing around John's head annoyed him very much.
Architecture. Architecture is the style or way a building is made.
The architecture of the church is amazing.
Artificial. If something is artificial, it is made to look like something natural.
That soccer field has artificial grass, but it looks real.
Chain. A chain is a series of connected loops, often used to keep things in place.
The scary dog was secured with a chain.
Distinct. If something is distinct, it is easily noticed or different from other things.
That girl has distinct pink hair.
Distinguish. To distinguish is to recognize differences between things.
The twins look exactly the same. It is hard to distinguish between them.
Dust. Dust is very tiny pieces of dirt or other matter.
In the old house, the dust was thick on the floor and chairs.
Excitement. Excitement means to feel a lot of happiness about something.
Did you see the excitement in her when the team scored?
Heal. To heal means to make a part of the body healthy again after injury.
After my broken arm heals, I can play baseball again.
Inherit. To inherit is to get something from someone who has died.
She inherited her mother's gold earrings.
Manner. A manner is the way someone does something.
His manner of not looking at someone while speaking is a bit rude.
Mount. Something mounts when it becomes stronger over time.
His fear mounted as the monster crawled out from under his bed.
Roof. A roof is the outside top part of a building.
The roof was covered with snow.
Shortage. A shortage is a lack of something you need or want.
Since there was a shortage of food, people were hungry.
Solid. If something is solid, it is made of firm material.
The safe looked to be quite solid.
Stock. A stock is a stored amount of something.
They keep a stock of rice so they'll always have something to eat.
Substance. A substance is any specific material or mixture of materials.
Water is an important substance for all living things.
Tomb. A tomb is a grave where a dead person is buried.
Their whole family is buried inside the tomb.
Wound. A wound is an injury to the body.
He had many wounds after the car accident. The clever thief. A new king inherited a lot of gold. He loved his gold very much. He even wanted to keep it after he died. Therefore, he had a large tomb built for himself and his riches. However, the tomb's builder had a plan. Most of the stones were solid, but he put one special stone on the roof. It was made of a lighter substance. When the tomb was done, the king moved in his stock of gold. One night, the builder went to the tomb. His excitement mounted. Because all the stones looked alike, he had left a distinct mark on the artificial block. The mark helped him distinguish the difference in the architecture. The builder lifted the stone. Using a chain, he climbed into the tomb. He filled his pockets with gold. The builder followed this manner night after night. Soon, the king noticed a shortage in his gold. This annoyed the king. At last he hired a guard to hide inside the tomb. When the builder entered the tomb, the guard wounded him. He climbed a pole to the roof. The builder left drops of blood in the dust. The guard followed them and caught him. When the builder healed, he explained to the king that he didn't keep any of the gold. He had given it all away to the poor.
Abstract. If ideas are abstract, they are based on general ways of thinking.
The idea of beauty is abstract, and changes over time.
Annual. If something is annual, it happens once a year.
The only time I see my aunts and uncles is at our annual family picnic.
Clay. Clay is a type of heavy, wet soil used to make pots.
She made a bowl out of the clay.
Cloth. Cloth is material used to make clothes.
His shirt is made of a very soft type of cloth.
Curtain. A curtain is a cloth hung over a window or used to divide a room.
She opened the curtains to let light into the room.
Deserve. To deserve is to be worthy of something as a result of one's actions.
The dog deserved a bone for behaving very well.
Feather. Feathers are the things covering birds' bodies.
That bird has orange feathers on its chest.
Fertile. If land is fertile, it is able to produce good crops and plants.
The farmer grew many vegetables in the fertile soil. The farmer grew many vegetables in the fertile soil.
Flood. A flood is an event in which water covers an area which is usually dry.
After 3 days of rain, there was a flood in the city.
Furniture. Furniture is the things used in a house, such as tables and chairs.
His living room only had a few simple pieces of furniture.
Grave. A grave is the place where a dead person is buried.
We visit our grandfather's grave each year.
Ideal. If something is ideal, it is the best that it can possibly be.
This house is an ideal place for my family. It has everything we need.
Intelligence. Intelligence is the ability to learn and understand things.
Because of his high intelligence, he finished school early.
Nowadays. If something happens nowadays, it happens at the present time.
In the past, people walked everywhere. Nowadays, they use cars.
Religious. When something is religious, it has to do with religion.
The holy man spoke about religious topics.
Romantic. When something is romantic, it has to do with love.
The young couple went to see a romantic movie.
Shell. A shell is a hard covering that protects the body of some sea creatures.
There were many pretty shells on the beach.
Shore. A shore is the edge of a large body of water.
All of the boats were floating near the shore.
Wheel. A wheel is a round thing on a vehicle that turns when it moves.
A car has 4 wheels. Osiris and the Nile. Long ago, Osiris was the king of Egypt, and Isis was the queen. They ruled the fertile land by the Nile River. They ruled the fertile land by the Nile River. They had great intelligence, and they shared their abstract ideas with everyone. Osiris taught the Egyptians how to make wheels and furniture. Isis taught them how to make things from clay and cloth. The people thought they deserved a gift. So they built Osiris and Isis a pyramid. Everyone loved Osiris except his brother Set. Set wanted to be king. Osiris made his annual trip around Egypt and led religious events. The villages gave him beautiful shells and colorful feathers as gifts. When Osiris returned, Set brought a beautiful wooden box from behind a curtain. If someone fits inside this box, I will give it to him or her, Set said. Osiris got in it. It was an ideal fit. Suddenly, Set closed the box and threw it into the river. Now I will be king, Set said. The box washed up on a foreign shore after a flood. Isis brought his body home and obtained a grave for him in Egypt. The Egyptian gods thought Isis had done something very romantic. Because of her love, the gods made him the god of the underworld. Osiris returned every spring to help the farmers. Even nowadays, people say Osiris keeps their crops alive.